So as you saw, we cut out these pockets and we filled the cavities with epoxy. And the plan for this epoxy is we're going to, when we're done, we're going to cut out a rectangle. And we're going to expose this epoxy on all four sides. And I'm hoping that we can get a bit of a light pipe effect. So if this was sitting on the wall, I guess it wouldn't be sitting, would it? If it was hanging on the wall. Any light that happens to come in through the, or hits the sides, I'm hoping it will work its way into here and illuminate the epoxy we're going to put on the outside. I don't expect the result to be that drastic, but I think it'll do something. We can always test it once we're done by covering up the sides with cardboard and see the before and after. But anyway, so the plan is we're going to cut a mountain scene, very simple one. And then I'm going to separate the wood by probably 20 mil, and then again pour epoxy into the gap, probably a orange red or something like that, something to, basically we're going for a sunset and a sunrise. And how that's going to work is we're going to do that to both of these and then swap the top for the bottom, so we'd have a light top and a dark bottom for sunset and the reverse for sunrise. I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do this, as usual, but I'm thinking we may have to shellac the top of this first. So that the epoxy doesn't bleed. It does bleed into the wood if you don't treat it. On the back, it really doesn't matter. And B, we can't really mill the top of this because on the front we do want this glossy effect. As you can see that, it's nice and shiny. Now when we mill it, we're going to lose the gloss, which is okay. It'll be kind of like a etched glass effect, so that any light that does come in, it won't bounce right back out the back. I'm hoping it'll stay inside. The sides will be a problem. They can't be frosted, otherwise the light won't get in. I guess some will. Anyway, I haven't sorted that out yet. From what little milling I've done with epoxy, I find a small bit works best. So we're going to start with an 1/8 inch single flute. I do have a double flute here on standby in case I need it. But I don't know, let's just mill the top. That's what we're doing tonight and see how it goes. I was not expecting the finish to come out that well. It's perfectly smooth and it's quite transparent. I was expecting a lot of frosting, you know, that frosted opaque look. But I'll give you a good look at it. You see that? Yep. The next step I planned to do was to cut out our profile and shellac this surface, then flip it upside down on a non-stick surface and pour in the resin. And the reason I was going to do it that way is because my thinking was I won't be able to mill this face once I put the epoxy in. Mainly because I expected the finish on the epoxy to be really frosty. But if it comes out like that, that might be acceptable. But I think I'll do both. I think I'll go with plan A. And if for whatever reason that doesn't work, we got a plan B to surface. So let's get them cut out. So that's those two cuts complete. And you can kind of see that light pipe feature we're after. And this, you can get a better idea what it is I'm after here. So it'd be like this. So I originally envisioned maybe a gap like that and fill it with the colored epoxy. Not sure what something like that would give me. Give you more color, but I think it's too much. I think we'll probably do something like this. But before we can go on, I think I will put some poly on these surfaces. So that's both sides milled, nice and smooth. So remember when I was talking about when you're experimenting, if you make a mistake, just keep forging ahead? Well, here's a perfect example. It's nice. That hole goes all the way through. So that's what happens when you tell your spindle that the surface is 2 millimeters down instead of 0.2. So basically the bit just plowed right into it. And the clamping force isn't very tight when you're doing a toe clamp. And I just lifted it right up. And so, what to do about it? I thought about maybe filling it with epoxy or doing another cut, but I think what we're going to do is we're just going to put an inlay going all the way across on both, using this mills like maple, but it kind of looks like redwood. I'm not really sure what it is, but we're just going to do like a 3 mil inlay. It's about 3 mil thick, and so more work, not done yet. Anyway, what we ended up with was, when that mortar looks like it failed on the second pass, so we got this little ridge here because we lost a Y motor on the Y axis. So when that happened, that motor was the only one driving it. It went over there, and that caused this to go out of alignment. So I brought it all back to zero, reset my motors, but now we're cutting further up. The only option is to take this inlay profile, and I'm going to have to make it larger and then run the job again. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I lined it up best I could because we lost our home position. If you can see, I traced this profile with a pencil, and in order for this to be successful, we need to remove all of this line all the way around. If there's any line showing, then we didn't go out far enough and our inlay is not going to fit. So if this fails, then we'll just make this wider again. So that took a few attempts. The problem I ran into, which is what I feared, was the diameter of the bit was too much to get inside these corners. And I can show you an example here. So this one is, I want to say 0.2. I've got a 0.2 around here somewhere. There we go. This one is, if we take this profile, do an offset of 0.02 millimeters. It's actually a little too much, but it does show the problem. You can see the interference we're getting right here, where the bit could not get deep enough into this material to cut this corner. So that's as far forward as it will go. I don't know if you can see the gap in there. Let's see, like that maybe. So a bit of a gap. So this was cut with a 3.17 millimeter bit, and it was looking like I was going to have to do a less complex profile here so that I could use that 3.1 millimeter bit, but I gave it another shot. This here is with a 1.7 millimeter, and you can see this is 0.1 millimeter wider or larger than the other one. And you can see in that corner there, we still got a little bit, but the rest looks fantastic. You can see right here, nothing wrong with that. So it looks like I don't have to deal with that profile any longer. Now, this is really snug, but I can tell just by experience that that will go with a little tappity tap tap. So we can glue these up, get these glued in. Once it dries, we'll do a final face, cut our profile, and then we'll put some poly and we'll be done. Finally. So, what did I learn from this project? First, I need to learn how to color epoxy. These are definitely not the colors I was going for. I used a powder colorant. I'm thinking there must be a liquid version, some kind of gel. I think that would give me a much better effect. Because right now these colors are way too dense. The only way it really shows up is if you put them on a window, which is why I put these suction cups on. I'll show some video at the end of these in a window. Also, I need to learn how to trap epoxy better. I don't think I showed too much of it in the video, but the first one was a mess. It took me a good 20 minutes to get it to stop leaking. But we overcame it. The biggest lesson, which I already knew, was that I really need to stop what I'm doing and just make some proper clamping for this CNC table. As shown by this inlay that was not part of the plan. When this, was it this one? No. When this one failed, that was all about clamping. Going down 2 mil with a bit is really not that big a deal, especially for this machine. But the clamping force was so weak that it just lifted right out. And that's starting to cost me a lot of time and a lot of effort. So I think that might be the next project. I just have to stop what I'm doing and get the clamping under control. The other one would be not that big a deal, but I originally envisioned, if you can see that, put in magnets on this, and so you could either stick it on a fridge or whatever you want to do. These magnets here, there's a part number. I've been very happy with these. I've done quite a few things with them, but 4 of them is not enough to hold up. I don't know what that weighs. It's got to be a 1/4 pound, maybe. Maybe half a pound. So that was disappointing, but not the end of the world. So that's about it. So I'll run some footage. So I did take footage of these in the window. It was very hard to capture. I haven't done the edit yet, but I'm thinking there's not going to be a lot of it that's usable. But I'll put it up there anyway. It's early in the morning. The sun is coming up behind the 2 plaques. It's very difficult to take a video of it, it turns out. In person they look beautiful. So I'm going to just rack through the exposure here. See if I can give you an idea of how it looks. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to, at least with my camera and my skill, it's pretty difficult. Here they are on the kitchen window. We're facing north now instead of east. And I think that gives a better impression of what they look like in person. That's probably where I'm going to keep them anyway. I like it. It looks good.